Have you ever felt like you were screaming inside, but no one was listening? What if I told you that the most powerful move you can make isn't to fight back, but to step into silence? In a world that constantly asks for more noise, more reactions, and more validation, the quiet ones hold the real power. Silence isn't weakness, it's a strategy, and when you learn to wield it, you become unstoppable. Let me show you how. When you stop explaining yourself, the world around you begins to change. People who once expected you to beg for validation or chase after their approval are suddenly faced with something. They can't manipulate your silence. It's a power move that doesn't require words, just the calm control of your own energy. The moment you choose to stay quiet, you stop feeding the chaos, the noise dies. And the silence, it reveals your strength. You'll no longer be caught in the drama of those who thrive on conflict. Your silence will send a message far louder than anything you could ever say. And that message, it's clear I am not your emotional punching bag. Have you ever been in a conversation where you're speaking, but the other person isn't really listening? They're just waiting to respond. Every word you say feels like it's being twisted, mocked, or dismissed. So you raise your voice, thinking that will make them hear you. But all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire. The argument escalates, emotions flare, and you're left exhausted. But what if, instead of raising your voice, you lowered it entirely? What if you just stopped talking? The moment you stop speaking, something incredible happens. The energy shifts. The person who was once dominating the conversation is now left scrambling for a reaction that you won't give them. That's when the game changes. Silence doesn't just stop the noise. It exposes the weakness in their argument. It's your crown, and when you wear it, everyone else becomes irrelevant. At work, in your personal life, or even with family, there will always be people who try to drag you into their chaos. They'll poke at you, make snide comments, and test your patience. The old you might have clapped back, ready to prove them wrong with your words. But the new you smile and you say nothing. You don't engage with their negativity. You don't fight in a battle you didn't choose. Instead, you rise and let them wallow in their bitterness. The power of silence is in your ability to let them destroy themselves without you lifting a finger. Your integrity doesn't need defending, it speaks for itself. And as you rise in excellence, they only sink deeper into their own dysfunction. Let them drown in their words while you swim effortlessly in your peace. Have you ever been manipulated, gaslighted? Someone twists your words, makes you question your reality, and leaves you feeling small. You fight back, trying to explain, to make them see your truth. But all they do is turn the tables and blame you. The more you try to convince them, the more they push you into confusion. But here's where you take back control. You stop explaining. You block out the noise mentally and emotionally. You stop justifying your actions to someone who isn't worth it. The moment you withdraw your energy, the manipulator is left to face their own guilt. The silence you've created becomes louder than any defense you could have put up. It's not weakness. It's self-protection. It's the ultimate power move. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is not to fight back, but to rise above. When someone tries to drag you into their low-energy drama, the best response is no response at all. You don't need to explain your choices, justify your boundaries, or prove your worth. Your actions speak louder than any words you could say. Think about how a lion moves. It doesn't roar at every noise it hears. It walks with quiet confidence, knowing its presence is enough. The jungle knows the lion's power. And so do the people around you. They can sense your energy before you even say a word. Your silence is the ultimate demonstration of your strength. You don't need to scream to be heard. Your energy does that for you. The more you stand in your power, the more others will respect you, even without a word spoken. The lion knows something others don't. It doesn't waste its energy on meaningless noise. It only rises when absolutely necessary. This is the kind of power you need to embody. People around you, whether in the workplace, in relationships, or even in your personal life, may try to provoke you. to test your patience. But just like the lion, you remain calm, measured, and unbothered. You know your worth. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove it. Your presence speaks volumes. And when you finally decide to act, it's not with noise or chaos. It's with precision, strength, and a quiet confidence that demands respect. The world will notice when you've risen, and they'll recognize it without you saying a word. You've probably encountered someone who always plays the victim. They complain about how everyone has wronged them, but when you try to offer advice, they refuse to listen. They want validation, not solutions. So, what do? Instead of offering your opinions, you simply remain silent. You nod, give them space to hear themselves, and let them stew in their own words. The silence becomes deafening. And suddenly they realize the truth. They are the common denominator in their own chaos. They've been waiting for an audience to validate their story, but you're no longer playing that part. By not engaging, you're forcing them to confront their own actions. It's not about confrontation, it's about liberation. Your silence forces them to face themselves. There's a unique power in walking away from situations that drain your energy. Every time someone tries to pull you into an argument, an unnecessary drama, or a toxic cycle, you have a choice to engage or to walk away. Walking away isn't giving up. It's choosing peace over chaos. It's stepping out of a small circle that doesn't deserve your light. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't need to defend yourself to people who won't listen. Your absence is your statement. It's a powerful reminder that you value your peace more than anything else. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong enough to know when something is no longer worth your time. We often think that healing comes through conversations, apologies, and closure. But sometimes healing happens in silence. There are relationships where you've been wronged, where you've been hurt, and you want to scream, to fight, to explain how much you've suffered. But instead, you do the opposite. You go silent. You block the noise. You stop chasing answers, and you start focusing on yourself. In that silence, you find clarity. You let go of the need for closure and allow your peace to guide you. This silence isn't an end. It's a beginning. It's the start of a new chapter where you no longer seek validation from those who've hurt you. You seek it from within. And in doing so, you reclaim your power. Setting boundaries doesn't always require a confrontation. In fact, some of the most powerful boundaries are set silently. Think about it. When someone continuously disrespects your time, your energy, or your emotions, you don't have to announce it. You don't need to explain your worth. All you have to do is stop. Stop engaging with the toxic behavior. Stop responding to the manipulation. Stop overextending yourself. By doing this, you set a boundary that doesn't need words. Your actions speak louder than any explanation. You're telling the world that your peace is not for sale. And the moment you stop feeding into the drama, you start to protect your energy in ways that words never could. Energy speaks louder than words. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the shift in the air? It wasn't because you said anything. It was because your energy entered before your words did. People immediately sense your vibe, your confidence, your presence long before you open your mouth. And it's this energy that commands attention, respect, and admiration. You don't need to announce who you are. Your energy already does that for you. Whether you're in a meeting, at a gathering, or simply passing by, your energy speaks volumes. When you're aligned with yourself, when you're confident in who you are, you don't have to chase anyone or anything. People will gravitate toward you, drawn in by your energy. It's a silent magnet that pulls them in, and they won't even know why. Silence is often misunderstood. People think it's a sign of weakness, that when we go silent, we've given up, we're afraid, or we're losing. But in reality, silence is strength. It's the ultimate self-control. When you stop reacting to every negative comment, every attempt to provoke you, you reclaim your power. You show the world that you are no longer moved by petty drama or small-minded people. Silence is your shield. It's a reflection of your inner peace, a declaration that you no longer need to engage with things that no longer serve you. And in that stillness, you become stronger, more focused, more aligned with who you truly are. Silence doesn't make you invisible, it makes you invincible. Sometimes, boundaries aren't just about saying no to others. They're about saying yes to yourself. When you start prioritizing your own peace, you don't have to explain why you can't be in certain spaces or why you need to distance yourself from certain people. Your presence alone is enough to establish boundaries. Think about how powerful it is to simply stop showing up to things that drain you. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to apologize. You just stop engaging. And in doing so, you teach people how to treat you. Your absence isn't a punishment. It's a lesson. It's a reminder that your peace, your time, and your energy are non-negotiable. Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is let go. You've been hurt, you've been disappointed, and you want to yell, to cry, to make the world understand your pain. But sometimes, the best way to heal is to step into silence. By not chasing closure, by not begging for apologies, you begin to release the grip that past pain has on you. Your silence becomes a form of self-care. It allows you to stop reliving the hurt and start focusing on your own growth. In that silence, you rediscover yourself. You rebuild your strength, your sense of worth, and your inner peace. Healing isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about letting go of what no longer serves you and creating space for something better. Moving on doesn't always look like a loud declaration of freedom. Sometimes it looks like quiet resolve. When you walk away from people, situations, or relationships that no longer serve you, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to tell anyone why you're moving on. Your actions speak louder than any words could. Moving on in silence is about reclaiming your peace. It's about choosing yourself over the noise of others. And while people may wonder why you left, you'll be focused on the beautiful life you're building. Your silence isn't an ending. It's a beginning. It's a chance to start fresh, to create a life that aligns with your values, your goals, and your peace. There are moments when silence becomes your greatest defense. When people try to push your buttons, twist your words, or pull you into unnecessary drama, your silence is your shield. It's the one thing they can't manipulate or control. They expect a reaction, they want to fight, but instead, they're met with nothing. It's disarming, it's powerful, and it exposes their lack of control. By choosing not to react, you remove yourself from their chaos. And in doing so, you take back your power. Silence, in this case, is not about retreating. It's about taking a step back to assess the situation, to protect your energy, and to decide that you're not going to play in their toxic game. There's immense power in withdrawal. Not in running away, but in choosing to step out of spaces and situations that no longer serve you. People may not understand why you've stopped engaging, why you've distanced yourself. But that's because they don't see what you see. You're not shrinking, you're expanding beyond their smallness. You're stepping into a space where you can grow, heal, and thrive without the noise. When you withdraw your energy from negative spaces, you make room for positive ones. You open the door to a life where you're not constantly fighting for attention, validation, or peace. Your withdrawal is your declaration that your time and energy are precious, and you're no longer willing to waste them. When you learn to embrace silence, you realize something incredible. It's not about shrinking or being passive. It's about reclaiming your personal power. By not engaging with negativity, drama, or manipulation, you take control of your own narrative. Silence gives you the space to observe, to think, and to respond when it truly matters. It teaches you that you don't need to justify your existence, your boundaries, or your choices. Your power doesn't come from shouting, from proving yourself, or from seeking approval. It comes from being comfortable in your own skin, knowing when to speak, and more importantly, knowing when not to. In silence, you reclaim your true strength. Reclaiming your space is not always about fighting for it. Sometimes, it's as simple as choosing not to engage with what's toxic. When people or situations try to make you feel small, your silence becomes your space. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to justify your worth. You just stop giving energy to things that don't deserve it. This act of reclaiming your space allows you to grow, to heal, and to align with your true purpose. You no longer need to explain yourself to those who refuse to see you. Your silence is the boundary that protects your peace, your space, and your energy. Letting go doesn't always require a loud farewell or dramatic exit. Sometimes, letting go is a quiet decision to stop holding on to things that no longer serve you. When you let go of toxic relationships, old grudges, or past pain, you're making space for something new. And this doesn't require an explanation to anyone else. You don't need their validation to move on. You just need to trust yourself. The power of letting go is in the silence that follows. It's the moment you realize that the past no longer controls you and the future is yours to shape. The silence of letting go is not an absence, it's a presence of self-love and self-respect. In a world that's constantly seeking validation, one of the most powerful things you can do is to remain silent. You don't need to explain yourself, justify your actions, or beg for understanding. When you stop chasing the approval of others, you find freedom, you find peace. The world may not always understand your silence, but it speaks volumes. Your silence is a declaration that you no longer need to be validated by external forces. You trust yourself, your journey, and your purpose. The more you stay silent, the more your true power shines through. It's in this stillness that you truly find your voice, not in what you say, but in what you don't. Setting boundaries doesn't always require a conversation. In fact, some of the most powerful boundaries are set without a single word being spoken. When you stop responding to toxic behaviors, stop explaining your decisions, and stop tolerating disrespect, you draw a line. You don't have to announce your boundaries or defend them. Your actions speak for you. People will notice when you stop overgiving, stop attending every toxic conversation, and stop engaging in energy-draining situations. Your absence, your silence, and your non-response set the boundaries for you. And when you do this, you teach others how to treat you without ever having to raise your voice. True self-love is found in the moments when you choose yourself over external validation. It's when you stop seeking approval from people who can't even see your worth and instead focus on nurturing your own soul. Self-love doesn't always look loud or dramatic. It can be as quiet as walking away from toxic relationships, as silent as setting boundaries without explanation. But in that silence, you are building a life that aligns with your deepest desires and values. You are proving to yourself that you are worthy of peace, of respect, and of unconditional love without needing anyone else to affirm it. In this silence, you create a sanctuary for your heart. There will always be people, situations, and circumstances that try to pull you back into the noise, the drama, the chaos, the negativity. But you've outgrown it. Your evolution has taken you to a place where you no longer need to engage with the noise. You are building a life of purpose, of peace, of power. And when you walk away from the noise, you walk into your greatness. You don't have to scream for attention or prove your worth. Your evolution speaks for itself. It's not about being loud. It's about being so deeply aligned with your truth that nothing can distract you from your path. Your silence becomes your strength. It's your evolution in action, and it's powerful. In the end, the most powerful move you can make is to choose silence as your form of revenge. It's not about hurting others or getting even. It's about protecting yourself and reclaiming your energy. When people try to break you, manipulate you, or tear you down, you don't have to fight back. You don't have to scream or retaliate. You just rise, you grow. You become everything they never expected. Your silence is the ultimate revenge. It's your success, your peace, your boundaries, your healing. And when they finally realize they no longer have access to your energy, they'll understand. So don't chase closure, don't beg for validation, and don't fight the noise. Build your life so loud they can't ignore it. Build a life that proves you don't need anyone's permission to thrive. You don't need to explain your worth. You just have to show it. If you resonated with this message, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering content. Let's rise together in silence and strength. Stay tuned for more transformative stories and videos that inspire your journey of growth and self-discovery.